Hey y'all, hey. This is Back to the Basics. My name is Miss Parker. Welcome to my channel. Now, for those that don't know me, and it's quite clear, not too many people know me. I have quite a following on Facebook. Let me say Facebook and Instagram. But for those that don't know me, I'm Miss Parker, and I am a life coach as well as a caseworker for the county. And I work for a program that helps out pregnant women and fathers and things that they go through in their day-to-day life. So that's just a background. But for the majority of my life, people have been coming to me, talking to me, telling me their life stories. And I can never understood nor get the concept of it, because even when I was younger, like I didn't feel I have enough experience to give them sound advice, but I always knew that I had the notion of understanding. I can right now say that I warrant myself on the fact that I am a great listener. Like I merit myself on that. I'm proud of myself that I'm a great listener. If nothing else, if nothing else, I am a great listener. And so within that, I've learned and discovered different skills about myself. And so many people have said, "Oh, Miss Parker, you need to like have a podcast, and the things that you say that people need to hear it, and you need to reach different areas, not just California, because that's where I'm located in LA. Can you believe it? LA, baby. Yes, honey. Yes. Anyway, so here we are, and this is why I created Back to the Basics. And I think I more or less created Back to the Basics because I just feel like there was such a disconnect between men and women, and particularly black men and women. And I just want to have a platform to where we can get back to the basics. And then I figure maybe that can kind of generate and help us navigate the rest of our lives together. So here we are. Now, my first topic today is communication. Of course it would be. Why wouldn't it be? We are getting back to the basics. And what is anything without communication? Let's talk about it now. Come on. What is anything without communication? So I love the fact that communication is so broad that there are different avenues and ways that you can go to speak up on it. Today, we are going to speak on just the basis of communication, meaning the definition, the types of communication, effective communication, as well as toxic communication. And then as time go, I will give different perspectives on communication as far as other people, as far as communication strictly in relationship, or communication strictly on your employer, communication strictly on your coworker, communication strictly on people that you meet on an everyday basis, communication on your kids or someone else's kids, just different things. There are different avenues that we can take. And so as time to come within this channel, you would hear different takes. But today I just strictly want to focus on the basis of communication. And so, because this is my first one, I have notes. Yes, I do. I got 5 pages of notes. Know that, okay? I'm not a YouTube content that knows everything and got everything right here and can just be able to just, I have a pretty good memory. I probably can study my whole 5-page speech that I got for y'all and memorize it. I can, but I want to be as authentic as possible. So I have notes. This is let y'all know. So if you see me look off camera, look over. Yep, I'm looking to my notes because I don't have it set up to where my notes is like right there, like production have it, like where you missing your line. Because I used to do acting like being an extra and all that. So I know how production sets up. With line, please. You know, I know it. At the end of the day, period, point blank. So I don't have that like that. It's right here on this table next to me, and I'm gonna look at it just to keep me focused because I know I can talk and get off track. So here we go. Communication. Um, I'm going to always start off with a opening statement as well as an ending statement, which I'm always on a positive kick and a positive statement. It could be just because I'm a Sagittarius. People say I'm optimistic. I don't know. Because I know some pessimistic Sagittarius too. But I'm very optimistic. And I like to start off positive and end positive. And know that with every episode that we have, I'm always going to include a Bible scripture because I'm a true Hebrew Israelite, and so therefore I'm going to incorporate the Bible within every topic that I name because I believe that that is our instruction as people have proclaimed the letters of Bible to stand for, which is basic instruction on earth, basic instruction before leaving earth. So, you know, hey, go figure, right? So I will include the Bible scripture, just incorporate life and God. So anyway, my opening statement is people do what they do because of what they know. And I need you to know that and understand. And I know we have the notion and statement of if you know better, you do better. Yeah. Just understand and realize that people do what they do because of what they know. Now, let's break down communication. Let's first start on the definition of communication. The definition of communication is to the imparting or exchanging of information and or news. That's the basis definition. Now, communication has three parts, right? So it has a sender, it has the message, then it has the recipient. So the sender decodes the sender encodes a message. The sender encodes the message, right? I just want to make sure I use the word encode and decode. The sender encodes the message, and the recipient tries to decode the message. And what that means is I am relating a message, and the other person on the other end is trying to understand what I'm telling them, basically. Back to basics. Also know and understand that communication is, there are four types of communication, and you have written, non-written, verbal, non-verbal, and visual. Okay? And so let's kind of go over what are these things. Verbal is what we do every day. Verbal is the face-to-face. Verbal is talking on the phone. Verbal is social media. Verbal is, you know, the radio station. Like, verbal is all of these things. Verbal is what we all know, right? Then you have nonverbal. Nonverbal is body language. Nonverbal are cues. Nonverbal is the tone in your voice. Nonverbal is the way that you dress. Nonverbal is the way that you smell. Like, you can make a statement with the way that you smell or the way that you dress, and you don't have to say a word. Nonverbal communication. Then you have written. And written is like letters or emails or social media or anything that is that is a written, and then you're sending it to somebody. Then you have visual. And people are like, what's visual? Visuals are like graphs or maps. Like, a map can tell you where to go without speaking a word, or a graph can tell you, hey, we've done well in this quarter without speaking a word. Visuals, right? Just to give you a synopsis of the different types of communication, right? Now, The Bible verse that I would like to incorporate into tonight's message is Proverbs 18:2. And it says, "A fool hath no delight in understanding, but that his heart may discover itself." And to me, what that means is that's why you got two ears and one mouth. So you can listen twice as much as you speak. Because within listening, you're gaining understanding. Only a fool doesn't want to listen and not gain understanding and continue to be a fool of the life, right? Right. That part. So, let's talk about effective communication versus toxic communication. Now, when we speak on effective communication, there are three parts on effective communication. Effective communication means that you either have active listening, B, reflection, and or C, clarification. Now, active listening means that you are listening with all of your senses, like everything. Like you can see what the person is saying, you can smell it, you can feel it within your bones, you can feel the tension, you can feel the energy, everything. And the recipient, because the sender, the messenger knows that you are receiving this information because all of your senses are alerted. You're looking, you're nodding. You know, you get a chill when something makes you, you know, uh, clutch your pearls, as people say. You know, things make you when things make you clutch your pearls. You know, I have my pearls on today. I normally have on pearls. Like that's anybody know Miss Parker knows. I know I love my pearls. I don't have it today, but things that make you clutch your pearls. You know, that's what you feel. That's energy of what you feel, and so the sender of the message knows that you are receiving the message because all of your systems are heightened within the things that the sender is saying. And then you have clarification. And then clarification is a person that is trying to that kind of give a short synopsis of what it is that you said, just to let what it is that you said that they understood, so that they can get clarification to say, is this what you meant? You know, like, so what I'm hearing is that this, and this, and this. This is what you meant by this, and this? This is the clarification. That's another form of effective communication. And then you have reflection. And reflection can be broken down into two parts, because reflection can be mirrored or reflection can be paraphrasing. So when we do like mirror, it's like we are given like short verses of what the person had recited. We are acknowledging keywords, and we are acknowledging the last few words that the person said, just to acknowledge that, hey, I did hear, I'm listening, boom, I heard you, I'm listening. And so that gives the sender of the message, hey, the person's listening because they heard what I just said. You know, especially for women, and especially for us black women. Did you hear me? Did you hear me? Like, that is that's our number one line. I think we feel like we are the most understood species on earth because we feel that everybody comes for us. But I promise you, everybody has studied the black woman. And so we're very well known, right? We're just not willing to accept what it is. But that's a different story. That's a different topic at the end of the day. We're not even go there. There's so many black women. You probably was liking this until I said that. And I'm fine with it. I can stand on my own. Know that. Now, paraphrasing. Paraphrasing is like, paraphrasing shows that not only are you listening, but you're trying to understand. So with the paraphrasing, you are paraphrasing what it is that the person said, but then within your own understanding. and then you're asking, this is what you mean? Again, this is all effective communication. Effective communication is just listening to understand and not listening to respond. I think that we as human beings tend to have a need to be right. And so within that need to be right, we are listening to respond and not listening to understand. And when you are able to practice these effective communication skills, it makes life a whole lot better. This, I promise you. I promise you it makes life a whole lot better. Let's talk about it. Now, toxic communication. Ooh. Yes, we save it for last. Yes. Toxic communication. There are 3 types of toxic communication. The first type of toxic communication is a passive communicator. Then you have the aggressive communicator. And then you have the passive aggressive communicator. Then let's go into passive. Passive communicators, they're built on lies because eventually everything falls apart because they're not expressing what it is that they want. Do you understand? Like, passive people are always trying to please other people. And so therefore, their wants are put to the back burner. So they're not always expressing what it is that they truly want. And so within that, what happens with that is over time, you become resentful. Like, you're not feeling like your needs are met, but the reason your needs are met is because you're not expressing it. So if you run into somebody that's passive, I feel that the best way to help that person is to just encourage them and let them know that it's okay to express how you feel. That's okay. Let them know that. And I do that. I do that in all walks of life with anybody that I meet, especially passive people. And more often than not, more women are more passive than men. And which is hard because especially with black women, because they feel black women just tell you and just do. And no, not all black women. The women in my circle are very passive. They're very passive. And it frustrates me only because I feel that they don't get the things that they need because they're not expressing what it is that they need. And I feel that if they expressed it, then we can come to a medium. We can find out if this person is able to give you those needs. And if not, then we can let that person go. Like, we don't have to waste time. But that's another story. We will get into communication and relationships on another day. But this is a passive person. This is what eventually happens with passive people. They eventually becomes resentful because their needs are not met. They're not felt and appreciated simply and wholly because they have not expressed it. Aggressive communicators. I just want to show y'all this on me because I'm a researcher, right? So within me, doing all my notes and all of this, believe me, I've researched, I've done content, talked to people. Believe me, I have notebooks stacked up of notes, and I had to condense it to this 30-minute video because I didn't want to go over 30 minutes because I just really wanted people to like gain some type of knowledge and learn from that. So I didn't want to make it too long because people attention spans isn't that long anymore. But so yes, look at this. This is all aggressive, okay? I didn't have that much for so let you know. I didn't have that much for the passive people. The passive people was about that much. You see that? Passive was about that much. This is aggressive, okay? So I'm going to be quite often looking at my notes when it comes to the aggressive, right? So don't get me wrong. Being aggressive can get you what you want. But that's only for right now. In the long run, you're going to suffer because you then become a bully in other people's eyes. And nobody likes a bully, right? Now, I know that aggressive people are often labeled and categorized as psychopaths and or people who lack empathy. But what people fail to realize is aggressive people are just people that are truly afraid. They are just afraid of facing their fears. They are afraid of the unknown. They are afraid of everything. And then within our society, we all know that fear isn't an acceptable emotion. Like, we can't go up to somebody and say, I'm scared. That's not acceptable because we have no room to be scared. We're dying out here, right? So we have no room to be scared. So fear isn't an acceptable emotion. What is an acceptable emotion is anger, especially as a male. Males, so many of us have grew up in a household where it was expressed to us where we can't cry, we can't express or show emotion as far as what it is that we feel. The only emotion that was acceptable was anger. So within that, a lot of people have built up their communication styles with aggressiveness. Only because, hey, this works. I get what I want. And regardless of if it's long term or right now it's working. And so what do I care about the future when right now it's working? I deal with it when I get to it, right? That's most people's ideology when it comes to that. Most aggressive communicators' ideology when it comes to that. I deal with that when I get to it. I cross that bridge when I get to it. So my job is to help them understand and realize what it is that they're doing, and to help them and not get so it doesn't go there. It doesn't have to go there. We can truly effective communicate and not be toxic. And so that's my thing. Try to understand that aggressive communication are often looked up as psychopaths, like I said. And fear and anger is the only acceptable emotion. Aggressive communicators need to acknowledge their initial fears. Aggressive communicators need to acknowledge their initial fears. Once you are able to help an aggressive communicator acknowledge their initial fears and then give them the space and the confidence to express that, then they no longer become aggressive because they don't feel they have to. See, most people are aggressive because they feel they have to be aggressive. But if you give people the space to acknowledge their feelings and it be okay, and they're not judged for it, they're not ridiculed, they're not looked down upon, then yes, they're going to be more willing to express that side versus the anger side. So if you have an aggressive communicator in your life, these are things that you need to do. You need to encourage them to acknowledge their fears. And then once they acknowledge their initial fear, let them know that it's okay. It's okay to break down. It's okay to feel a certain way. All of these feelings are a part of your human DNA, your makeup. It is who you are. And I know that we have been taught this, but you've been lied to. So therefore, you can have a safe space with me, right? Then you have passive aggressive. Passive aggressive, listen to me. Like, I used to teach the prenatal classes at my job for the county with the prenatal women, right? And we had like baby basics to teach them, breastfeeding, labor and delivery, nutrition, exercise, all these basic things. But then we also have a resiliency course as well that ties into our prenatal classes and is teaching about stress and stress management and how to deal with worries and fears and all of this. And I love that about our courses, because I felt that other prenatal classes didn't have that extra added reality instruction. You know what I'm saying? Because stress is a daily reality thing. And so to be able to handle stress and be emotionally intelligent, to be able to get control of your emotions is winning. Okay? I'm telling you, you're not winning until you gain emotional intelligence. I'm just telling you. Don't take my word for it, though. Please don't. Try it. Try it and see. Then holler at your girl, right? Okay, so passive aggressive. Passive aggressive people are the worst, simply and wholly because they are too afraid to express how they feel, but too bold to let it go. So then they become what we say manipulative. That's why passive aggressive people are the worst, because they become manipulative. They can navigate and get people to do things what they want them to do, as aggressive people do, but put a little soft spin on it so you feel sorry and guilty and you be more willing to do it and you don't put up a fight. This is why passive aggressive people are the worst. The worst. Because they have the option. They know they're very manipulative. Now, if you're dealing with somebody that has a passive aggressive spirit, what it is that you need to do is just encourage them, because more times than not, they use sarcasm. They use sarcasm, right, to make somebody feel bad, to get them to do what they want to do. That's basically passive aggressive. It's just you really using sarcasm. And if you have somebody that's a passive aggressive communicator, what you need to do is just encourage them to not use sarcasm and then express how you truly feel. I think we can get to the bottom of what it is. What I've learned and understand is that because people know that they can be judged or they can be viewed a certain way, that they tend not to be, and or they go overboard in the extreme within it because of the labels that come with it. What people fail to realize is that's going to happen regardless. At the end of the day, people are always going to have a judgment, a bias about you, and it has absolutely positively nothing to do with you. And you need to know that. So within knowing that, and gaining the skills that I'm here to help highlight for you, that you've already been doing, but just highlight, will help navigate you to effectively communicate with other people. And then again, communication and comprehension, what I talked about, it all goes hand in hand. It all goes hand in hand. And so this is what this channel will be about. This is what the topics would be about. It's just sipping holy, holding people accountable, our people. Again, this channel is for our people, by our people. Holding us accountable because we care. Holding us accountable because we love. Holding us accountable because we need to. Period, point blank. And so I leave you with this statement, because I believe that if people did this less, this world would be such a better place, and we wouldn't have as much confusion and or need for war or fighting or offense. Please don't take things personally. A lot of people speak based on what it is that they know, based on what it is that they've been through, what they've experienced. It has absolutely nothing to do with you. Let me just say that. People's reflection of you, even if they are giving you a description of you, people's reflection of you, people's description of you is a reflection of themselves. Period, point blank, at the end of the day. Know that. Own that. Understand that. That way you don't take it personally. There's nothing, like everybody say, like, oh, you can't control people. That is so true. I'm here to tell you, there's no amount of lessons of communication that will tell you how to control somebody else. Doesn't work. The only thing that you have control over is you. You, your emotions, your thoughts, your feelings, you. Period, point blank. Irregardless of what anything or anybody say, and if you feel that a person isn't treating you the way that you feel that you need to be, that you want to be treated and or need to be treated, remove yourself from that person or remove that person from your life. Either or. Either or. It's just that simple. I promise you. And that is Back to the Basics with Miss Parker. I holla.